Uganda, like many parts of the developing world, menstrual hygiene management is one of the critical challenges adolescent girls face while in school. In many societies, open discussion on menstruation management is a taboo associated with a number of harmful social and cultural practices and therefore completely neglected.
Something you see in Uganda is that it's still shrouded in taboo. There's also a lot of stigma around managing menstruation.
Men having to see the used pads of females was taboo. Male, even the girl child just dumping her used pad anywhere. If an animal just picks it, just like a dog, a cat picked it, then they would tell us that you would bleed for the rest of your life.
There's so many taboos, right even from the Bible. If a woman was menstruating, then she was not even fit to enter the tabernacle. In Teso, the reason why men normally married the second woman, among other reasons, of course there's a reason of labor, but also majorly is that the women were not supposed to always considered to be inferior or not or filthy when they're in their periods. So when you're in such a time, you're not supposed to cook food for your husband. You are supposed to be isolated in your own bedroom, as the man will be in another woman's bedroom. In Karamoja, the girl child who is menstruating or a woman who is menstruating would be gazetted to a hut, and you will stay there for as long as you're menstruating. And the menstruating management was that you dig a hole and then you sit directly proportional to that hole, and then the mini skirt keeps, dropping there until you're done. That is making a girl child, you kind of be destitute within your own home, you see.
Based on these general perceptions, information on menstruation and menstrual hygiene are often treated with a lot of secrecy and embarrassment.
It's important to break the silence around menstrual hygiene management. When things are hidden, are taboos, they're not talked about in public, just like sexuality, they're dangerous. And in that case, it's important to face squarely what these issues are, the taboos, social culture, and address them.
Ignoring menstrual hygiene management has huge impacts on a girl's health, education, and dignity.
The more we talk about menstrual hygiene, the better the prioritization, right from the ministry to the districts to the schools.
With the onset of puberty, adolescent girls face the embarrassment of menstruating in schools where toilets are unclean, have no doors, and sometimes shared with the boys. Most girls experiencing menstruation for the first time don't know what to do in regards to menstrual management.
My first time, I went in the toilet, I shook myself, then I saw when I'm in periods, I went and I told Madam Annette I am in period, and Madam Annette told me, let me go and let me go and I get you pads.
I was seated in class, the teacher was teaching. The teacher was teaching when we were in the math lesson. When I was going to give the answer, I was standing, this one sits behind me. She told me, I gave the answer when I'm seated. I got my sweater, I tightened myself here, and I went to the headmistress. After, she gave me the sanitary towels.
I was not knowing, I was just sitting in class. At break time there, I went outside and I called this girl. But Jack, you come here and I tell you something. And I told her I have started to bleeding. And she told me, let me bring for your sweater, and you go to the headmistress and you tell her.
Their first reaction in most cases is disgust, frustration, as well as absentia from school for a number of days.
It's not simple life, yes. If boys knows that you are in your periods, they can laugh at you.
I feel pain The stomach can be paining me.
It comes about as a result of the uterus contracting, and that brings in the pain. Normally a girl menstruates 4 days. That's the average. There are those who do less, there are those who do more, but on average it's 4 days. This actually means that for 4 days a girl may lose concentration in class, because one, she's always conscious about herself. Secondly, she's worried about what is the next step. She's worried of her peers, so that makes a little bit life difficult. So if a girl loses concentration in the 4 days, it's just as equivalent of her being at home.
The elimination of these harmful social and cultural practices associated with menstrual management that affect a girl is therefore our collective responsibility. In recognition of the challenges faced by adolescent school girls during menstruation and the consequent impact of their education, African Evangelical Enterprise, a local WaterAid Uganda partner in Kawempe, one of the administrative divisions of Kampala City, is implementing a school water and sanitation project in urban poor schools with a special focus on menstrual hygiene and management.
We're working in 40 schools. In these 40 schools, our target is to see that we improve the state of water, hygiene and sanitation. And specifically, we want to see that we mainstream issues to do with menstrual hygiene. Menstrual hygiene is something that has been neglected in the past, and it is still being neglected, but we are breaking the silence.
This project is a good example of how to break the silence and foster understanding that menstruation is a fact of life and a distinct biological female attribute that schools should not be ashamed of.
We've done a lot in equipping promotion structures such as the school health clubs, the school health committees. We want to see that these committees or these structures are in position to advocate for change. We are using a district-wide approach, and we are working close with KCCA. We are in touch with the Education, Public Health and Physical Planning Directorates. We've put in place over 14 inclusive VIP latrine blocks, and each of them has a private washroom. Each of them has 2 stances for disabled children.
We support the schools to form the school health clubs, where hygiene and menstrual management, sanitation issues are all mainstreamed there. And also the special emphasis for the senior women teachers, where they're just trained on how to support the girls, how to manage menstrual hygiene, and the rest of the things. That's one way we've mainstreamed it.
School maintains the availability of the equipment to use, like the sanitary towels, like the buckets, the soap to use, the water. The children are counseled. They are guided to accept their body changes. And menstruation is one of the body changes that these children experience.
When it is the first time for you to start the menstruation time, when you don't know, you go to the senior teacher, who is Madam Annette, and she helps you. She go to Madam Eve and ask for the sanitary.
Working with school health clubs, teachers and private pad manufacturers, adolescent schoolgirls are empowered to discuss this biological phenomenon in an informed and positive manner.
We have now established partnerships with over 100 NGOs. We work directly with NGOs, and in some circumstances we work directly with health service providers. And many of these organizations that we partner and work with are affiliated directly with schools. The benefits of AfriPads are multiple. What we find is, number one, is that they're cost effective. When you compare the cost of buying disposables every month, AfriPads are a product that you buy once, and just like a knicker or a panty, they don't have any chemicals, harmful gels or fragrances, so they can be used for up to 1 year. They're also environmentally friendly, as they don't add any waste to the waste stream. And lastly, they're made in Uganda, so by purchasing our product, you're actually able to support a growing all-female Ugandan industry.
This project is supporting poor urban schools in the construction of inclusive sanitation facilities, rainwater harvesting tanks, and hygiene education for both teachers and pupils. In schools where such infrastructure is missing, girls are more likely to miss classes each time they go into their menstrual periods. WaterAid Uganda partners also use public campaigns and media to mobilize and sensitize communities about girls' menstrual management.
We realize also it's not sustainable for WaterAid to be giving schools money to prioritize menstrual hygiene management things. So the best we have done also is to advocate and influence for the prioritization of the menstrual management kits within the schools. But also, we also use the different platforms. We have the districts, the education office, and the coordination meetings. Also for advocacy and influencing at that level, we encourage them, we push for menstrual hygiene prioritization.
It is blood. Menstruation is healthy. Where will I get the money to buy sanitary pads? 2,500 shillings every month for a year. Too much for poor parents.
Breaking silence on menstrual management should no longer be a private matter, but rather a public issue requiring urgent attention.
We are breaking the silence. We want to see that pupils, teachers, school proprietors, you and I, parents, mom and dad, they really break the silence and see that they come to discuss issues on menstrual hygiene. Us working closely with some of these line offices such as public health, education and physical planning, we really think that in the future some of these will be adopted and will become a requirement for most of our schools.
As a way forward, eliminating the social cultural harmful practices that surround menstrual management calls for the mainstreaming of menstrual hygiene management in all ongoing schools' health and water sanitation projects.
Sometimes when people say mainstream, you just have it in the proposal, menstrual hygiene management, and that's it. I think it has to be at the center of the core school business, involving parents, involving the schoolwoman teacher, involving the senior management of the school, involving the health clubs, involving probably even within the curriculum on hygiene, where hygiene, menstrual hygiene management is mainstreamed. You have high retention of the girls in school. The attendance is good. Their participation and their performance is equally good.
We would like to see is open dialogue around menstrual hygiene. We'd like to see menstrual hygiene on the agenda. We'd like to see it incorporated in school curriculum in a much more comprehensive way. And we'd also like to see a holistic approach to managing menstruation. It's not just about how women manage their menstruation in terms of which product they use. It's also what knowledge do they have about what's happening to their bodies and their cycles in this adolescent stage that is full of so many changes. And also, how are schools meeting the needs of the children? For example, with the latrines that are built, with accessibility to water so girls can wash their hands, wash their pads, and really cope in a more holistic way when they're coping with their menstruation.
My plea or my call to everyone is to see that we break the silence and see that issues affecting the girl child, especially menstruation, those issues are brought to light without shame.